Well, hello and welcome to the Just Jump In live stream. Welcome everybody, and let me go ahead and do a sound check. Let me know if you're out there and you can hear me. Happy Friday to all. Welcome to. I see that Split Rock Tom checked in earlier this afternoon. He, amongst several of our Twin Cities Division folks, are out in Springfield for the Springfield show. And if you're out there, say hi, tell us how things are going. I know the show really starts tomorrow and Saturday, but there's lots that go on. Lots goes on around that show. People get together. They have annual get-togethers and meet all around Springfield, Massachusetts area. And hey, Tim, welcome to the show. Nice to have you in here. Hi, Mom. Nice to see you. Thank you for that. That's not my picture, and credits are in the description. But I also thought that was a really nice picture, and made me want to do model railroading stuff. So I thought I would add that in. So once again, if you're out there, if you're lurking, doing work, whatever it is on the back end, just say hi. Let me know you're in here. And again, just reaching out for a sound check. Just let me know you can hear me. So tonight I thought we'd give a small update because I really only have a small update. The week kind of went pretty quick. It was mostly focused on work, the paid stuff, and didn't get a whole lot of model railroading done. But we have those weeks, and so thanks, Mom, for confirming that you can hear me. Appreciate that. So there are multiple. So I thought maybe I would do some work. I haven't really done a lot of work on here. I'm going to see if I can get something done tonight. But talk to folks. I know that you're. I know that we'll have a lot of people that probably aren't on the live stream because they're out in Springfield or doing other things. And I don't know if anybody's enjoying the weather, at least in the U.S., but there's snow and cold all over the place. We're just coming out of one of our really cold snaps. We're going to have, I think, Monday and Tuesday, we're going to have some warmer days. Warmer meaning it's going to hit the 30s or low 30s would be a break for all of us here in Minnesota. And I know a lot of the country's been hit with snow. I know in Europe and the UK area, they've been hit with a lot of storms too over there. And but hopefully our folks, our friends down under, are having a good summer and it's not too hot down there. But yeah, so mostly, I worked on. If you remember, I was working on putting a tunnel together for the Dollhouse model railroad, and I got something going here with this, but it wasn't great because too much was taken away from here. I might just cut this down a little bit, see if I can flatten it out, because I went ahead and started another one. And I'm still having the problems with cutting on angles and things like that. So I don't know if I'll do a whole nother one. Don't know if this will survive and make it on the table. But that's mostly what I worked on. Hi, Gopher Girl. we say no to blizzards. So let me out of this here. We'll see. So for the dollhouse table, you can see we're coming along with scenery. Put some roads in. I'm going to do more of the actual scenery and grass and things like that. But with things so big, I decided I was going to try and reduce the size of them. And I think I did. I think this is actually 60% size of this tower. Obviously, that has to get glued on. And then this, I think, was 50% reduction or something. It looks a lot smaller, but everything had to be reduced, and it had some stability issues that I'll have to fix on that. Maybe I'll make it a little bit bigger than that. I think that looks a little small, but everything's weird perspective here. And then the other thing I found was some folks that did, these are not my creation, of course, none of these are my creation on top, but found Monopoly inspired houses and hotels. So I printed out a couple of those to see how that would look on here, to have a little city scene type of thing, or just to get it a little busier and have different topography. So that's what I've been working on. This one's kind of fresh off the presses. Just before the stream started, this was done. Had a little trouble with the roof. Has a little bit of a hole in there, but not too noticeable. I can try printing that again, but we'll just, glue that on there, and that will take the place of this guy. Be much more, much more scale, I guess. If there is a scale to this, there really isn't a scale. And with Lionel, it's not about scale as much. What I loved about Lionel, but I never had Lionel stuff, but what I loved about them is they were all mechanical. I wish I could do mechanical stuff. And other scales need more of that. But this is the main thing that I worked on. Trying to think if there was anything else that I really worked on, and not, as I showed you last week, I do have the decoder and the decoder buddy ready to go for this. So the only thing I have to decide on is, am I going to do the beacon lights? If I'm not going to do the beacon lights, then it's ready for the decoder. And that's going to be cutting down these wires a bit. The decoder buddy has, I think they're 2000 ohm resistors. So Mom, the bigger house is actually what we would consider a hotel, because they're Monopoly pieces. So you have the houses and hotels that you put on each thing to get more rent as people stop on the square that you own. So I don't know. I'll still play with the sizes and see if there's anything else we can throw on there, and then get started on doing. I'm going to probably lay down some more of that really fine ground foam, and then I have 2 millimeter grass with the static grass applicator that I might try. The only one smaller than that I could find at the local hobby shop was actually a white to simulate grass with snow on it. That was 0.5 millimeters. 0.2 is going to look pretty big on here, so we'll see how that goes, but more work on that. Anyway, so one of the things I was saying with the decoder buddy has 2000 ohm resistors on it. So the so all of these already have resistors. They were pre-wired with resistors. The really thin wire has resistors on the end, so those can easily be cut off and will be just because of the wire size. The thicker wire, which I think is 26 gauge wire, has the um, resistors at the top near the LED, so those won't come off. But they should all work just fine with the extra resistance. But that will be next. But we're certainly going to cut these down. The decoder and the decoder buddy are not big, so they'll go somewhere in the middle. I was thinking of putting them off center so that they can lie high by over these windows, because if I put it in the center, you're going to see them through the door windows. And then it's getting windows in here, and we're going to use the crystal clear, which I was showing you last time on the other shell. We'll do like 2 layers of the crystal clear, so that it's not, so it's a little more solid. So that's I have to shine the light on it. That's the 2 layers. Those are 1 layer. And you can see right through those. It's amazing. There's not a film at all on there. The other thing I was looking at is a really thin layer. I have clear filament for the printer. I could try and print something up that will fit in these. I have a model in the windows that came with these kits that I could use for size and everything. So I could certainly try that, but I don't expect to. I think I'm going to go with the crystal clear, which I actually started with this, and this actually has crystal clear underneath it. There you can see the glare from it. So 1 window has it as I was getting it on there. So that's where I'm at. Yeah. So yeah, that's, I basically, with the tunnel, I basically was designing it the way I designed my N scale layout, having it on 1 corner and having that little hill that I built already on the other corner. And so this still works. I could, like I said, I could probably cut it down on the side and try to make sure it's as flat as possible. But we'll cross that bridge soon. And then this car, the underbody needs a little repair. There's 2 places on here, 3 places that need repair. The wastewater unit constantly needs repair. That one is going to be similar, but not quite like the directions in the article. And then there's some pieces on the end that have come off with handling, and I actually had to glue the bumper again tonight. And that one I'm going to look at 3D printing going forward, because I'm just not happy with the design of that. I mean, it looks like it's supposed to look on the front end of it. It's hard to see on there. But it just, to me, it's a shoddy job. And then once those fixes are done, then we're going to have to put in some seating. So we're going to have to figure the seating piece out. We're going to have to see if I can design something or if that's just going to be an added accessory to it. But we're close to being finished with that. I do want to get moving on this one too. I'm almost completely done with the flat car. So there's a couple of fixes I need to do. So on the flat car, so we need to get another stirrup that's broken off again on there. All these wheels have been weathered. I did some weathering to the undercar because it was just so red, and I used some of the white to see if I could tone it down, and I had too much splattering. I didn't have a good mix of paint, so I tried a new method that I haven't tried before. Let me see if I can find what I did with the stuff. So I've used for a while now the weathering powders, and there's a number of ways you can use paint, like craft paint, if you want. Put the weathering powder in it to give it grit, and so you could use that. I really wanted to not have the extra color. I didn't want it to be too intense. I wanted to try and blend it as best as possible. So there's this thing called glaze medium. This one's from Vallejo that I got. It was really cheap too. It was like, for this bottle, it was like what was it, $3.49, I think, $3.49. So for me, that's cheap for this kind of thing. Usually the mediums are more expensive. So I simply, mix so the glaze medium dries basically clear, or it's milky in here. But it comes out, when it dries, it comes out clear, and it like other mediums delays drying time, and you mix it in with paints and whatever, and it delays drying time. It extends things. It extends, paint. But I used it with the grimy black to add. It's going to be one of those things where it's just going to be harder to see. But, there's lots of glue marks. There's lots of pools of glue. So I mainly use this on the ends where those pools of glue in the corners are. And then I used it a little throughout on top here to give it a grimy look and hopefully a textured look. This doesn't look too bad on here. We'll have to see. I haven't sprayed this with any clear coat. We'll have to see how it comes out with the clear coat. But I'm trying to blend some darker spots in here. And then again, on the ends, trying to get some. And there's much more on those ends. There's much more of a texture than you see on the bottom of the car. So hopefully that will be appreciated. And then I use and I think I mentioned this last time, I used the panel liner from Tamiya and I use the brown. That's this. So it's an enamel, and it flows, and I use that on the edges and crevices and the beams to give it some contrast to that red again. So all in all, this looks pretty good now with some weathering on it, and that's different if you look at the pictures than you see on the top of the car, on the sides of the car. So just a couple steps left with this one. So it's then working on the brake wheel over here. I have to add that in, and then after that, and that's in that one stirrup, and then I can say I'm done, and then it's just finishing the paperwork, and the paperwork's just going to be the last finishing touches, like the details, like the stirrups and the weathering on the bottom and the sides and the decaling. And then the paperwork will be done. So this will be ready to go shortly. I just got to get it moving to do it. And so I don't know if I prefer using that glaze medium. I don't know if I prefer that over mixing this with paint. But I didn't want a starkly black paint just to get the grimy black, and I could have used a brown. I certainly could have done that. I could also have an umber wash in here too. I could have used that. Anything you can mix this with, anything really that's wet, and that will dry and stick it. But I actually think this looks pretty good. I don't know how good it looks on camera. I'll take a look after the show, but I'm pretty satisfied with it. And then the rest of the week, I was actually, because I'm still technically in a makeshift area. This wasn't set up for the hobby stuff, so I've got like a couple of side benches or tables that have all my stuff on them. And I really need shelves, but I designed a couple things. I had a tray full of my painting stuff and weathering stuff, and it was just piling up, and it was a big mess. So I printed some things to keep things straight and neat. I also printed this. Let me see if I can pull up on that. Sorry, folks. I printed this so that I could put what I need next to my spray booth. So my spray booth goes right here, back a little bit, but it goes right here, and I have room on the side where I can put this, and I can have all my stuff. I can have my airbrush cleaner, thinner, the reducer that you put in before the paint. I can have all my paints in here, and a little slot for the little brushes for whatever I need mixing, the pipettes for the thinner that I use and everything. So this is a module that somebody made. They multiple, and I resized it so that it fit the smaller stuff, but also fits the 2-ounce bottles of craft paint that I use a lot with that. So I was doing a lot of, instead of the actual modeling, I was kind of just cleaning and trying to organize stuff a little better. But that's kind of what I've been working on. I'm putting this up here, and you see running across the bottom, totally separate issue. Just want to throw out there that if you have kids or pets, you know what it can be like and how scary it can be with things, natural disasters like the wildfires, and trying to get help, and people choosing, I would have that hard choice, but choosing to leave their pets behind because they don't know where they can go in a disaster and things like that. So I'm just saying, if you can help, start at this website that's from LA, and help however you can, whether you can rehome a pet, whether you can adopt a pet, whether you can just give some money, or if you're out there and you can give your time, just do something to help. There are lots of people who need lots of help, even if they're rich. Money. I love money. I wish I had more of it, but it doesn't make it, easier when all of your possessions are destroyed. You have to find a bed in an emergency situation. And your family's in danger. So just do what you can to help. And, you know, even if you can help get a pet in your local area rehomed or homed, and adopted, that opens up the room that if they need to spread those pets around the country to help, that opens things up. So just asking you to do something to help in that way. I just can't imagine what I'd have to go through if my two dogs were in a situation, or we were in a situation where we had to get our two dogs out. We do have two very good families that would take us in, so we have some, they're big enough families that we could find a way, and so we're lucky that way. And they can take pets in. My mom, who hasn't had pets, we found out while she's allergic to everything else, she's not allergic to dogs, so we could go there. And I have some additional family, and my wife has a large family not too far away in South Dakota, and they are all pet lovers. My fear, though, is if we go and, if we ever have to go to and have her mom help out, her mom probably wouldn't return the dogs. But anyway, that's my soapbox. That's really all I have to say about it. If you're not in Springfield and you're hanging out wherever you're hanging out, let me know. Let me know what you're working on. And if you have a YouTube channel you want people to check out or anything, let me know. We can certainly make that happen. I know lots of you do have YouTube channels because I watch the videos all the time. That's at least what the app tells me, is I'm watching all the time. So yeah, let me know what's going on out there and how you're spending your weekend. And if you're going to the show this weekend and you happen to be checking in, tell us what you're going to be doing, what you want to check out, whether you think you're going to get through the whole show or not. Are you going to check out specifics like 3D printing, or are you looking for specific road name equipment and vehicles and things like that? So just curious what everybody's doing. If I was out there, I'd be looking for anything that had to do with New Jersey Transit, Amtrak, Northeast Corridor, Long Island Railroad, any of those PATH trains, SEPTA, which comes off of the Northeast Corridor in Philadelphia and out into the rest of the area in Pennsylvania. I'd be looking for freight stuff. That's what I would probably spend my time looking for. I'm not too much into the announcements and this engine coming out and that engine coming out, mainly because I'm building one, and knowing that I can build things, I'm going to look for, I'm going to, and getting into 3D printing, I'm going to continue to be looking to build. I mean, that's a huge part of the hobby that I really like. And I know everybody doesn't like that. That's probably what I'd be looking for, is can I find more of these cars, more shells and things like that. But I don't know that I would be, I don't know that I'd be too interested in new stuff. I mean, I certainly would like to see other products and things that I haven't seen before, other announcements that can help me build. So I'd rather have that. I'd go visit my friends at some of the podcasts. I'd go visit my friends at the Women in Model Railroading SIG and the other SIGs as well if they're out there. But definitely Women in Model Railroading I would check out. I'd go say hello and certainly let our fellow I would hey Split Rock, welcome in. Gearing up, I'm sure, to gearing up for the show. For that, do you know if that's the Northeast Corridor Historical Society Philadelphia Division um, layout? They're the only one I really know of that really does Northeast Corridor. So let's see here. Oh, Facebook's being weird. They also have a groups.io. I've been in touch with them. Wow, it's doing some weird stuff. Facebook is. But you can check. So yeah, Split Rock. They also have. I think you'll see there too with their modules. They'll have 4 main lines. Which is a lot of space in what I'm trying to do. There is a group of folks, and I met one of them when I was out in New Jersey at one point, who put together this several years ago called the Quarter Universal Modular Standard to standardize things so that since it was specialized, because like Fremo, you have 1 or 2 tracks, but it goes through all of this. And I talked to them, they said it just hasn't caught on. And there's just not a lot out there doing that, but you can see here, here's their 4 tracks. Yeah, they have a lot because a lot of people do the modern, the double decker cars and the modern engines and stuff. So you'll see a lot of that. There are a lot of modelers out there that still do some of the older rolling stock for mainly Amtrak, because that's what's most available. So you'll see quite a bit of that. You'll see the Bud cars, which are the older cars. Walthers makes them, and Rapido makes engines and the cars for New Jersey Transit. There are selections in N scale and HO scale, but yeah, so that's a big difference. Is you got to get 4 4 tracks, 4 mainline tracks, and for my modules, I'm certainly gonna want to do the 4 mainline tracks. It does come down when we do the, I showed you the tunnel I was working on. It drops down to 2 tracks for that tunnel, so I would do that for the tunnel piece of it. But the rest of it is 4 tracks. Let me see. I spaced it out too. I did a drawing of it. But going through the main station, the New Brunswick station that I'll have is going to have if I don't have it here, but let's see if it's on the. Here is here's the New Brunswick station and the track plan. You can see they indicate 4 tracks here, but that's most of the New Jersey of the Northeast quarter is mostly 4 track throughout. And then I have that book I've showed previously too that has all the sections of it and has all the signal setups and all the track setups and everything. But yeah, it's a heck of an endeavor to do this, but I'm going to try. And I certainly, as you know, as I'm doing the cars and things, I really could be. I'm trying to push myself so that I'm doing multiple things. And right now I kind of am. Some are slower than others, but I want to get back into trying to get that station built and the track work done for around the station and everything. So, still working on that. But that's neat that they really thought about having a specific standard. Would be nice, but you have to have enough people to kind of do it. Otherwise, you can't really display. So I can't remember what the current standard is that they use, but I thought it was like Primo, but let me see if I can pull this up. Let me see if I can show you. See what you can see. So here's their Facebook page. And I actually was able to get the paperwork from the files section here. But you can see that they have all kinds of stuff that they share from all eras and everything. They have so that's useful to me as well. Let's see here. Under their files. So they have a number of things that I can, go back to now. Much of this is because they're the Philadelphia Quarter crew. I haven't found another Northeast Quarter Historical Society for the New York crew or any others. I don't know if I can start one or, but there's certainly resources out there and they're good to talk to and everything. And so they have their own place. So if it's something you want to check out, go for it. It's called the Northeast Quarter Historical Society Philly Quarter Crew. And they're on Facebook. So yeah, there's so much dog hair in our house. There's just no way around it. So I need to do the bottom piece that came off here, which is the base of the brake wheel. Kind of they kind of want you to design like a gear that it goes down into that's on top of a platform, and it just comes off too easily on here. I was thinking of using some angle. Hey Ken, welcome. You're as they say, you're never late. They're just here. You're going to have fun a little bit later than everybody else, but you're not late to the party. Just going through not a big week of work for me on the railroad stuff because I've been, it's been mostly focused on the work, the paid stuff. But welcome. You didn't go out to Springfield, did you? I don't think you did, but couldn't remember. So anyway, so I was thinking that I have some smaller angle. I think I do. I was thinking about cutting this little piece and connecting it, but that's a really small connection there. Once it's all together, it's pretty good. And having the coupler lift bar there will also protect it this time around. So let's see if I have a couple. I have this one too that might fit in there, but it's I don't know if you can see, probably can at this magnification, but it's a really tiny piece that has to go in there. That one doesn't exactly come out as far, so I'll probably go with the 010 styrene again instead of this, and just have to cut it really small. So yeah, Ken, are you working on anything tonight, or are you just hanging out? It's good that you're on that I've got my hands on camera while I'm doing this, so that if I slice myself, you can go get help pretty quick. I don't even know if you'll be able to see this up close because it's gonna be pretty darn tiny. This is not going to be that long. It's going to be pretty short, but we'll use part of it to be a little round piece. It's a little off camera here, but you probably don't want to see me do this if you're squeamish. So we're going to give a little bit of roundness to this thing to add the extra layer. Then we'll need to drill a hole after we glue these together. And I am prone to losing these things. This is still a little big. So Oh yeah, I have to do that as well. Yeah, get registered for that. Are you actually the one who's putting together the form itself, or are you just having to sign up? Um, Got to make sure I sign up this year. Be ready to go on that. Get this curved a little better. Kind of leaning to one side here. Let's see if we get this. There's probably a better way to do this than I am doing it. So the idea is to glue that on there. Still, this should be a little bit smaller. Gotcha. Split Rock, what are you planning to do tomorrow morning? Where are you planning to go? I know you were there last year as well. Do you have a game plan? Getting this even smaller, but it was going off camera. So apologies on that. Round this off again. And are you just chilling in your hotel room? Are you getting together with anybody tonight? Is there a special get together for the Twin Cities guys or Thousand Lakes guys? That might help a little. The problem with this too is you got to hold when you have something this small and you're putting this glue on here. You've got to hold it down. And move that up a bit more. So we'll let that dry for a while. One of the things that I'm learning, like patience is my worst virtue. As you can see here, I'm already manipulating this. I don't know if this is, I don't know if I left enough room on there. But even though this dries quickly, this thin cement, when they talk about glue curing, even if it dries after a few seconds, if you go to, it's really soft right now. So if you go to use a drill on it, which I'm going to drill a tiny little hole in there to receive the copper wire or the bronze wire, it will, it'll move, could crumble and everything. So I'm actually going to have to not lose that So we're going to throw it back into, this is our bin for this. Grab it by the edge. We're going to throw it in here, and I'm actually going to wait and come back to it tomorrow to drill the hole. I want to, because I found that if you do that and you wait and have the patience, then you're much more successful. A lot less that you have to do to correct or pretty big sheet here for just that little thing. But when you get into scratch building, you ultimately end up with a lot more stuff than you need. So one of the other things I did is I went to the local Dollar Tree, bought a little sewing kit, and cut the end off of one of the needles. Don't know if you can see that. It creates a couple prongs, and I've been much more successful with glue and not overdoing super glue. It's expensive. The one I buy is expensive, and I know I've showed you this before, but it's the Bob Smith Industries Super Gold, and I get it because it's odorless, because I haven't tried other super glues, but I had the Gorilla Super Glue, and I was having allergic reactions where I was having trouble breathing. So with that being said, I might do better if I have a real, if I spend the $40 for a real mask, not just a simple particle mask, but a real mask with the canisters to filter. I might do well with that, and it might be cheaper because these are really expensive for the 1 ounce and the ½ ounce bottles. And they also take longer to dry, and they don't feel purely like they're super glue, but they are. It's still cyanoacrylate or CA, but it takes longer to dry. And it also is good that it takes longer because even as it dries, I've gotten it on my fingers and you can peel it off. It gets solid. It's not quite like Elmer's glue, but you can get it off. And so there's less panic. The other thing I did with these, you can see how tight this is on here. You can see the cap gets glue in there no matter what you do, and it gunks up, and then it doesn't stay on. Well, I found ones that fit, and I 3D printed them. So I've used 3 on this bottle. This is the 3rd one, and I actually have 2 left, and I can easily go back and print these, and then it'll stay on and hopefully won't dry out and have to waste that kind of money. But this trick, which has been chronicled many times in multiple hobbies and with the use of CA glue, and so you can take that drop that you get on there and really get in somewhere, really pinpoint where you want that. So I wouldn't have necessarily ended up with as much glue on the edges here if I had this. And so I'm going to try it when I put the other, let me see if I can see if it's still in here, or if I need to make I may need to make a new one at this point. Well, that's the painted one. We can see if using the new applicator helps, because I had to, as I was finishing the car up and these stirrups, I had to chip off a lot of that paint. Otherwise, they're just going to be these gigantic paint pools around this. So let's go ahead and see what we can do. One of the few I have left of these before these are extinct. And then, so what I was doing is I was dipping this in like that, but you have some small spots on here. So one of what you can do with this is pull up that bead of glue, put that bead of glue on there, put a bead of glue on there. And of course I have this turned around the wrong way for a lefty. And I just lost it. I do that. Where did you go? Ah, it's right on here. It's still on here. So I might have to put glue on it again because this does dry. But that's just like me to do. Yeah, it looks like I'm going to do it this way. So it picks up that glue, puts it on there, puts it on there. And we are going to try to get this on. Try to keep that from rolling. See if we can get that to stay on there. I have to straighten it out. This is definitely, gluing is something I got to work on. This is not my strong point. And that needs to move back just slightly. And we'll try that again. So we're going to just do the one end first. And then get that on. You want to try. This is the difficult part of having really shaky hands. Getting things like this on and staying. So we'll see. I can feel some tack on it, but it's very little tack. So we're going to add some more glue to that. Bend this slightly more. Japanese commuter. So little secret, talking Japanese commuter rail. Gopher Girl secretly watches videos of luxury Japanese trains. She cites the extreme cleanliness of the Japanese and how nice the trains are. She's a frequenter of Amtrak overnight trips. So seeing those trains is definitely, I've seen them too. They're pretty amazing, and so she secretly watches those. Although I guess it's not a secret anymore. Oops. There we go, finally. And so what we will do is we want to get that down. Then we're going to do a little bit more glue. I found gluing the tips of this brass is not fun. That's such a small surface area and so hard to see if you got it glued. But we will leave that alone. We will say that I've done some work tonight, and come back to that tomorrow. We'll make sure that's on. We'll paint that up. We'll get the other piece of styrene on. Get it drilled, then get it on here, and then get the brake wheel. So hopefully this weekend I'll be done with that piece, and then we can call this one and move to the paperwork and finish up the paperwork, and then it will be ready to go. And I'll have to put this somewhere where I don't touch it, because we don't want to ruin it. So I don't want to probably leave it on the layout or anything. But it'll be ready for March for the modelers retreat, to be evaluated by Mr. Split Rock and our other MMR, Dave Hamilton, will also be helping do evaluations. And so I can really focus after this on finishing up the dollhouse model and the cab car. Mom, I have a surprise for you. I'm going to be mailing out tomorrow. So look for that in a couple days in the mail. It does have to do with dollhouse miniatures, and that's all I'll tell you. And 3D printing. I did that for you, so that'll come in the mail. And so I'm hoping to really focus on the model railroading this weekend. And then that warm-up's going to come Monday and Tuesday. Maybe I'll spend more time outside. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of what's going on. And yeah, I don't normally find breathing an issue, Ken, but I actually was. It didn't. I don't think it bothered me that much, but Gopher Girl had a problem with it. And then I was talking to my mother one day, and she's like, if you're having problems like that, and it sounds like you're having a problem, and I think there was some wheezing and things like that. But I thought I was fine, and it would go away and everything. And I do use better ventilation generally now. I like using that portable spray booth, even when I'm just gluing stuff, because I can vent to the outside. But definitely was having problems. I was in Menards. It's like $40. They have a full mask with the filter canisters, and I've been hesitant to spend the $40 on that. But I'm on to my fourth bottle, I think, of this. Now, 2 of the bottles I got using a birthday coupon, so it was $10 off of it. So it was only $9 for those. But this is normally $19 or $18.99 for a full ounce. So a little expensive. And so I've spent about $60 on that glue so far. So if I've spent that much on that glue, I probably could buy the filters and buy the mask, and do okay. It's a production to have it on and everything, but it probably would work. So. And Ken, going back to the registration form, would be happy to give the suggestion that if you can just make it say free on the registration form, that would be awesome. So, but yeah, I mean, that's what's been going on, um, and that's what I'm looking to this weekend. Part of the reason, I'm shorthanded at work this week. Next week, I won't be shorthanded after Monday. I won't be feeling as tired doing three people's work. Um, you know, so I think I'll get more work done than I did. Um, and I'm going to try and make sure I have some energy this weekend to focus on getting this stuff done. I'd really, really like to say that I'm done with this. So I'm hoping this weekend is it. Um, Keep that motivation. So, yeah. I just thought I'd ask. So, question for those of you out there that have used superglue, if you've used an accelerator. So I also got the accelerator from Bob Smith Industries as well. Um, it's I didn't originally want to use it because I thought, well, having the working time is great, but when you've got such small parts that have to stay in place, um, the accelerator is actually not a bad thing. The only thing that I have a problem with when you spray this stuff, first of all, that's odorless. This is not. I don't react to this, but it's not, it's an okay odor. Um, but when you spray it, it sprays a lot. Let's see if you can. It sprays a lot, and so I find I'm having to actually wipe down the model. But let's see if you can even. I don't know if you can see that, but you can see that spray when you're using a drop of CA, and then you have this go on there. It does instantly set it. The other problem with a lot coming out is that if you get a lot on that one area, it gums it up and it becomes a mound, a solid mound. And we don't want that glue showing out like that. Um, so it does its job, but um, does anybody dispense it in some way with just a drop? Because I would love to find out if we could do that, whether it's a pipette or um, I don't know, or a syringe even to get a needle's worth. Um, I would like to find another way to do that because that's a lot of the reason these ends gummed up so much and has so much in there. Is not because of the CA glue, it's because of um, the accelerator adds more liquid, but it solidifies right away, and so any suggestions on that would be great as well. So, you know, um, I, I'm sure, and once again, um, I'm the when this is evaluated, I think that where I'm going to suffer um, is probably in the construction part of it. Not just the glue marks, but the overall construction could be better. So I'm sure I'm going to get some dips and points there. There will be that's completely, that'll show up as completely scratch built, but you only get so many points for that. So remember, you need 8 to have a merit. You need 87.5 points, and it's broken out into different categories within the judging or the evaluation. So there's a complexity, and I don't know if this would, I don't know what this would be considered from a complexity standpoint. When I had my billboard judged, I considered it complex. It was the first full scratch, second full scratch built that I did. And it had lots of parts to it. It wasn't a square building with, just a square that you had to build. To me, it was complex. To the evaluators, it was not a complex model, and so didn't get a lot of points when it was associated with the complexity. So looking at motive powers, cars, and structures, there's construction is 40 points. A possibility of 40 points. Detail is 20 points. Conformity is 25 points. Finishing and lettering's 25 points. And I believe scratch building is 15 points. Although I don't have that on here. So let's see. Let's see. 85. So yeah, I think I'm missing an item on that list, but you could get a whole total of 125 points, and it would have to be an absolute perfect model for that. So let's see here. Yeah, so 15 points for scratch building. So this one's a little bit better to look at. But construction, this is just a grid that helps people who are doing the evaluation. And I've done this. And it was an interesting journey to do it, but 40 points in it. This is a neat thing because it kind of tells you where you need to be to get to that merit level. But it's construction's 40 points, conformity is 25, detail is 20 points, appearance, that's a finish and lettering, is 25. And scratch building is 15. So I think that I'll probably get all 15 points on this. I think that I have everything scratch built on the list that's scratch built in the commercial parts of the brakes and the couplers, the brakes, couplers, and wheel sets should all be exempt from that. The rest of it should be scratch built. And again, you look at if is a model complex to simple, and then the workmanship on it, on each one. And that's how you get your grid score. So is there, so for prototypically of intended model, prototypicality of intended model, that's a mouthful, but is it extensive to minimal? Does it really look like the real thing? Is it partly prototypical? Is it largely prototypical? Is it completely prototypical? Um, I don't know what the evaluators will consider it, but this is at least um, except for I think one thing on here that I had less of than they had put in the clinic. It matches the clinic. Now, does that match the prototype? I hope so. I'm not an expert on a prototype, so hopefully the evaluators are. And then quality of added detail. So complex, hard to add items to simple to, and then how much is added. And again, I stuck to the clinic. So um, the stirrups, all the grab irons are what they should be, and what they're asked to be. The extended detail coming off of here, the brake wheel, the pipes underneath, the wires underneath. That's all the detail, the decking, the decking on here, the snake pockets. Me personally, I would consider that the detail, and hopefully there's enough on there. And then quality and finish of the lettering. I don't think I'll have. I don't think I'll get. I think it'll be in the simple range, and then it'll probably be an average. So I don't think I'll get a lot of points, but that's my own opinion. If I was evaluating this, I'd be scoring something in here. And then again, scratch building, I should have something on this end. It may be considered simple, so it may be somewhere up in here, based on the quantity of scratch built parts. It's all the parts are scratch built except for the exempt stuff, but is that enough? That's up to the evaluators. So like I said, it could be up in here versus down here. When I did the billboard, I got 15 points for the scratch build. Everything was scratch build except for the lighting that I did on there. Tim, some of them, yes, normally I would sand stuff where I glued. The Like right now when I glued on the stirrup, it was already in a painted area, so I didn't sand that. But yes, sanding probably would help with adhesion, just like it does any other glue. I would agree with that. Yeah, I could certainly try dipping in the accelerator. I would do, because I would um, probably take one of my other knives, do that with the needle again. I have to remember which one it is, and I'll have to put some kind of tape on it, but do that and then dip this in the accelerator and see if that works. So interestingly enough, I found out that there truly is a chemical reaction between these two items, by the way. And I didn't even realize that I had gotten glue, the super glue on my hand. but it was like on one of my fingers, and I had just sprayed this, and I was holding the whatever I was gluing, and out of the blue, all of a sudden, my fingers started to burn, and it was getting more and more intense. Just seconds, but it was like more and more intense, and I couldn't stop it, and I didn't know what to do. Then I realized there was the glue there, and so I immediately went to work chipping it off with my nail. And as soon as I did that, it was gone. So don't get both of these on your hands or any other part of you. Try not to get super glue on yourself anyway, but don't get accelerator on it. It burns like a son of a gun, and something worse than that. But I'll be PG. And by the way, I hope to be. I didn't commit to doing this. I committed to doing some evaluation work with the rest of the crew at the last convention, but I wasn't able to go. It turned out I wasn't able to go. So I didn't commit this time to doing it, but I shadowed the other evaluators, and it was really neat because they sat there and talked me through everything and what to look for, and they were open to questions. They weren't bothered by them. And I had even some that right out of the bat said, well, how would you rate this? And then they'd ask me why. And then they came back and said, well, I would rate it this, and here's why, and this is what I look for, and things. It was really, really educational. It helped me with building, let alone help me become a evaluator. It really helped me with understanding how to build, which, by the way, the paperwork part. So I showed you the paperwork, which was 3/4 done, and it was pages long, where my original one was just the sheet they provided and typed up in available lines, and it gave them nothing when I did the billboard. So I learned from that too. So I hope to be able to get back and help with that at our regional conventions someday. And if they need help and I'm available to help at this one, then I'll certainly do it. It was a great experience. I learned a lot for myself, and I learned a lot about how to evaluate these models. It's got a bad rap from a lot of people, and it's their, everybody has their experience with it. Mine obviously was a good one. I didn't score very well on my model, but I agreed with everything they evaluated on it. It all made sense to me. So, if you're part of the NMRA and or you're not part of the NMRA because you didn't like how it was called judging in the past, and they had certain ways of doing things. I know, at least in the in our division, I know the guys that I know our MMRs, and I know when they do their evaluations, I know that they're going to be looking at it as trying to give me the points. If they're looking at the grid, and they're looking at the scratch building, and they really think, they really think it's borderline, it could be a 9, it's middle, the complexities in the middle, and they think the quantity is borderline, and they were thinking maybe it's a 7. They're going to try and justify maybe giving it a 9, for instance. That's just a for instance, but they're looking to give points, not to take points away. And I think that's a really good way to do it, because it's got a more positive connotation to it. I know that when I was judging and looking at it, when I first started, I started immediately. That's what we all do, is like, where can I take points away? Um, but then by the end of the session, I had already changed, and I was like, okay, so I would have given them a 6 on that, and you're giving them an 8. Well, why? Because you're giving them the benefit of the doubt that the directions maybe had only this amount of parts, so you followed the directions, but you did it well. So maybe you should have an 8 instead of a 6, whatever that is. So my experience is positive. I know that it'll be a positive experience, even if I don't merit, or even if they have some critical things to say about it. They're going to do it in a way that says, you know, this is how you can do it. And for instance, um, I know that Split Rock did car like this. I also know that um, Dave Hamilton did this clinic, and he was showing me. I was working alongside him for a short time, and he passed me by on that. But he did 4 cars based on this. He actually did 2 gondolas, where instead of the flat car, he made gondola walls and created gondolas out of it to differ them, but the basic structure of it was the same. I saw his work. His work is far above my work. He would score way higher than I would any time, but he's not going to sit there and say, well, this isn't to the quality of his work. He's going to look at this and say, what can I give him for the work that he's done? And so I know, even if I don't merit, it'll be pretty positive experience. And so I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to getting the car done. So I got to build other cars. So yeah. So that's my soapbox when it comes to the NMRA and their evaluation program for the AP. It's not as scary as everybody makes it out to be. It's not as negative of an experience if you have the right people working with you. And I think we do in the Twin Cities division. So, yeah. With that, I'm going to say, have a great weekend. Help a pet out. Do something for them, even if it's, the change in your pocket. Give it to, if you're going to give it to somebody, give it to an agency that deals with getting pets rehomed or adopted, and saves them. And just jump in and try something. You may enjoy it. And with that, I'm going to say, have a good weekend, everybody. It's date night time. It's hockey time again. We still have a few weekends left of that. And so everybody else have a fantastic weekend.